Now batting the right fielder, Michael Campbell. buy your merchandise.
It is a balmy afternoon at Blacktown International Sports Park here in Rudy Hill, but it's a good day for baseball. Any day where baseball is being played is a good day for baseball. Exhibition, Sydney Bluesox, Canberra Cavalry, in the first of what will be two before these two teams face off in the season opener next weekend, right back here in Sydney. My name is Andrew Reynolds. Thanks so much for your company here at Spacequake Sports. David Muggleton and the crew doing a good job of getting his exhibition contest up for broadcast this afternoon. And, well, it's not been such a good start for Sydney. The scoreboard says it's 10-2 Bluesox, but I can in fact tell you that the opposite is true. It is a 10-2 lead for the Canberra Cavalry as we head to the home half of inning number 2. It's a Canberra Cavalry team that haven't looked like getting out. Minher and Matty Ray, the two pitchers that have been atop the mound so far for Sydney, they've gotten rocked around. The Bluesox did pick up a couple of runs in the home half of the second inning. And Mitch Austin, who is the sixth hole hitting designated hitter, will lead things off. It'll be the 6, 7, and 8 spots due up for the Bluesox here in the home half of inning number 2. Good crowd on hand at Blacktown this afternoon as well. This will be a 7-inning contest, this first game of the double dip. And they will potentially play 9 innings this evening. The first offering from Kodai Hamaya is taken for a called strike. Hamaya's been throwing gas, the left-hander. As soon as I say that, of course, he throws an off-speed pitch that misses upstairs to even the count, a ball and a strike. It was Joe DeLuca, the New York native and independent baller, that hit a bomb into left center field to get the Bluesox on the board back in the first inning. That was after Canberra played at 3 in the top of the first. The Bluesox answered with 2 of their own, but things are wildly different as we play here in the home half of the second inning. There's a fastball that misses low and inside. And the count even 2-2. The next from the lefty. This one hit off the hands, spoiled away foul. We'll do it again, 2-2. Hamaya is an interesting case, a Japanese left-hander that has played all over the world. He's played in Japan, most recently with the Yokohama Bay Stars a few seasons ago. It's a 2-2 in the dirt. That one well blocked by Tilly. Hamaya has also played in Mexico and Italy. Wouldn't be a lot of Japanese pitchers that would play in those leagues. A journeyman, to say the least. 3-2 pitch called. Third strike on the outer edge. That was a good offering from Hamaya. His second strikeout looking. In fact, he struck out Solo McGuire to begin the home half of the first inning, and now he strikes out Mitch Austin looking to begin the home half of the second. And there's one away for Max Brennan. Left-handed gas. Been impressed with what I've seen from Hamaya so far. This one spoiled foul on the first to Brennan. Did throw a first pitch fastball to Joe LaDuca last inning, and I don't think he'll be in a hurry to do that again. Next to Brennan, missing low and inside for a ball. Brennan, 32 years of age, played in 14 games last year for the Bluesox. The 1-1, this one slapped toward Fullerton. Another good pickup. Boy, Harry Fullerton's been really good over at third base. And Brennan sliding in will be safe at first base. Boy, he just never gave up on it, did he? It looked like a routine out for all money after the great pickup by Harry Fullerton, but Max Brennan sliding under the tag of Jack Barry. And the Bluesox have themselves a base runner here in the home half of the second inning. He's all heart, isn't he, Max Brennan? This is Lindano Kim, the right-handed hitting shortstop of the Blue Sox. The 1-0 pitch. Low into the dirt, blocked well again by Tilly. Tony Harris very much still tweaking with what this roster will potentially look like for opening weekend. You can see the Blue Sox new threads do not have numbers on them. Reason for that being is there are still way too many players for the amount of roster spots that Sydney have, and they don't have to finalize those rosters until early next week prior to round one, at which point we will see the numerals on the back of the threads for the Blue Sox. But for the exhibition series last week in Canberra and for the 2 games here this afternoon, no numbers. Makes it incredibly difficult for a rusty old broadcaster like myself, but we'll get through it. Long look from Hamaya, runner going, and the 2-1 is spoiled away foul. Brennan's been toying with swiping the bag over there at first base, and he did take off. Looked like the hit and run was on from Tony Harris. Kim spoiling the 1-2 away. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Don't think we'll be seeing the runner go on a 2-2 pitch. He wasn't. It's a good pitch, but it missed just low and inside, and the counter run full. We've seen some good tradesmen-like at bats from some of these new faces for the Blue Sox. Saw a really good one from Harry Fullerton on the other side of the Canberra Cavalry last inning as well, just before we came on air. Brennan going this time, and they picked him off. You could tell he was antsy to go, and this time Hamaya knew it was on, throws over to first base, and it's an easy out in the end. So Brennan, after sliding his way into first base on a routine ground ball to reach, is thrown out on the base paths. And now Hamaya is a strike away from getting out of this second inning. The next to Kim, spoiled away foul. We'll do it again, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Beautiful pictures being brought to you by our crew at Spacequake Sports, as they will be throughout the 23-24 season. Our good friend David Muggleton on the 1s and 2s. This one is lined into right center field, and that'll get down for a base hit. Kim can fly. He's on his way to second. The throw is a good one in time, and they got him. What a throw by Mortiz in center field. Kim trying to stretch a single into a double. And the base running, letting the Blue Sox down in the home half of the second inning. They get a couple of base runners, both thrown out on the base paths. And we'll see it again on our way to break. And it wasn't Mortiz at all. Yes, it was the center fielder cutting off Michael Campbell. And have a look at the throw. Perfect to Ed Howard, who makes the tag. And the inning comes to a close. Good stuff in the field by Canberra. Let's go to the third inning. It is all Cavalry leading it 10-2. Top of the third inning in Blacktown, 10-2 your score. It's reversed from what you're seeing on your scoreboard. I promise you, David Muggleton and crew are working to correct that. The Cavalry, in fact, leading at 10-2 as we play in the top half of the third inning. But that's what exhibition baseball is for. It's not just for the players, it's for the rest of us as well. It's been a long, cold off season. Here's a ground ball to second base. And Kim throws on to retire Corey Acton for the first out here in the third inning. So one away, nobody aboard. Here is Cam Warner, who is singled a pair of times. He's driven in 3 and scored twice. It's only the third inning. Cam Warner's already had himself a hell of a ball game. Singled in a pair back in the first inning and singled in another an inning ago in the second. Fastball missing off the plate for a ball, leaving the count at 1-1. He'll be one of the leaders of this team this year, Cam. As he goes, you'd have to think the Cavalry will go this year. Here's a grounder to LaDuca over at third base. 2 up and 2 down. 3 straight have been retired now by the Bluesox after what was a tumultuous top half of the second inning. Good pick over at first base as well on the 5-3 put up. With 2 away, here's Jack Berry. Matty Ray trying to do something that the Bluesox haven't been able to do so far today, and that's retire the side in order. Berry has walked. He's also been hit by a pitch, so he's come to the plate twice, but is yet to register an at-bat. Swinging first pitch. He spoils it away foul. It's a Canberra Cavalry team that was 6th in the league in overall batting last year, 242 team average. Scoring runs was not the problem for this club last year. In fact, they next pitch here missing, 2 balls and a strike. One of the big issues for this offense was the strikeout. And in fact, the only team that struck out more than the Cavalry last year was the Sydney Bluesox. There were only 2 strikeouts in it. Cavalry struck out a little under 8 times on average per game last season. It's a team that was able to generate base runners last year, but at times had trouble putting the ball in play. Ended up finishing 10.5 games behind the eventual Northeastern Conference champions Brisbane last year. They were 6 games clear of Sydney, who ended up 17.5 back. Bouncer to shortstop, and it's up and over the head of Kim. Boy, that was a tough play. It'll go as a base hit. It's a rope off the bat of Berry. And he's aboard for the 3rd time, his first base hit. Really not much Kim could do but go to the ground and hope and pray that he could stick his glove in the air and make a play. But instead, the inning will extend now to Mitch Edwards, who has reached both times he's come to the plate as well, the former Sydney player. He's swinging first pitch at the offering from Ray, and it's a swing and a miss. Again, these 2 teams will play each other again next weekend in the opening round. There will be no baseball on Thursday night next week. The 0-1 hit hard into left field, but right at Antoine Ellis, who makes the catch, and the inning comes to a close. The Cavalry do get a base runner with 2 away, but they strand him there. First inning in which they haven't pushed a run across. Let's go to the home half of the third. It's 10-2. Nick Anderson-Vine leading things off for Sydney as we welcome you back to Blacktown. Home half of the third inning. It'll be the 9-1 and 2 spots due up for Sydney in the third, trailing 10-2 in this first of two exhibition contests this afternoon. No matter where in the world you may be joining us from, thanks for your company. It's been a long time since I've put on a headset, particularly in this booth, but all up in the Australian Baseball League. It is good to be back. Feels like home. Looking forward to spending a bit of time with each and every one of you in this 23-24 season. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a Bluesox team that has been revamped, really rebuilt from the ground up in a lot of ways. There are still some familiar faces. I mean, the man at the helm, and Tony Harris, obviously, is one that comes to mind, but Darren McBeth, Rob Hazen, Stu Masters, what they've been able to do and put together at the Bluesox could be a fun season in the west of Sydney as Anderson-Vine grounds one to Acton at second base. And there's one away to begin things here in the third inning. It's a Sydney fan base that really are thirsting to have a winning baseball team, and it's a franchise that you could make an argument is one of the most important for the Australian Baseball League. Obviously, all franchises are important, but having a strong team in Sydney would only buoy the rest of the league. And a winning team in Sydney has not come to fruition since 2018. That's the last time that this Bluesox team had a winning record. And they are the only team of the, we'll call them 6 original franchises of the new ABL that have not made an ABL championship series. Boy, oh boy, were they desperately close back in 2014. I know a lot of people still remember that bang-bang play with Keon Broxton at first base. But the Bluesox so desperately unlucky not to get to an ABL championship series. There's a called third strike on Solomon McGuire. And Kodai Hamaya has retired the first 2 that he has faced here in this third inning. In fact, in that 2018 season, the Bluesox had to travel west to go to Perth in the ABL semifinal, and they won Game 1. The Heat were able to come back and win Games 2 and 3 to head to the ABLCS. They were then defeated by the Brisbane Bandits. That was a fun ABL championship series back in 2018. There's a bit of fire in that series. Brisbane winning a close one that was error-riddled out west in Game 1, and then a day off on the Friday and an electric atmosphere on Saturday night when the Brisbane Bandits eventually hoisted the Claxton Shield Trophy. The 1-2 swung out and missed. First swinging strikeout issued by Hamaya so far today. The other 3 have been looking. He's got 4 total. Retires him in order in the third. Let's go to the fourth. All camera leading at 10-2 in exhibition baseball. It's hard to know where your left foot is. You know what I mean? So you used to spend your whole life trying to figure out where your right foot is. You know, the left side. Yeah. Hakuna Matata. It's a wonderful phrase, and it's playing loudly over the speakers here at Blacktown International Sports Park as Harry Fullerton comes to the plate. Top half of the fourth inning, it is 10-2. Canberra leading the Bluesox. Matty Ray coming back out for another inning of work. And good afternoon to you, Paul Gonzalez. Wherever on the planet you are watching from, it is great to have your company as always, my friend. Fullerton hammering a pitch foul down the left field line. 0-2. Third time that we've seen Fullerton so far today. And the Cavalry brought 9 to the plate in the first inning. They brought 11 to the plate in the second. 3 runs in the first. And 7 in the second. This is the third time that Fullerton's come to the plate. He's flied out to center. He's also singled in a pair and scored. One of the bright young prospects of the Aussies playing in the ABL this year, Fullerton, but he swings and misses here. Matty Ray, who was brought in the second inning to clean things up for Min Herb, has really steadied the ship the last couple of innings. Faced one over the minimum last inning, and here he gets Fullerton swinging to begin things in the fourth. So here's Cam Tilley now. He takes the first on a fastball off the plate outside. And these two teams will do battle next weekend in the opening round of the Australian Baseball League season. They're going to get sick and tired of seeing each other. They played an exhibition series at Narrabundah last weekend. They're playing each other in an exhibition doubleheader this afternoon in Blacktown, and they'll play 4 games as part of the opening round of the ABL season next week. And the reasons for that, it's simply geography. It's easy for these two teams to play each other. Just a 3.5-hour saunter down the road from Blacktown to Narrabundah. And if you're the Cavalry, based on how you performed last season against Sydney, you wouldn't necessarily mind that. These two teams played in the opening round last year, and it was a 4-game sweep for Canberra. In fact, Canberra won 6 of the 7 times these two teams played each other last year. There's a ground ball to shortstop. Well picked up behind the bag, and a great scoop as well. And Tilley is retired for the second out of the inning here in the fourth. Been impressed with the slick fielding of Kim at shortstop so far this afternoon. He did have a ball eat him up last inning, but it wasn't his fault. He got a tricky hop on a laser off the bat of Jack Berry. Ended up not hurting the Blue Sox as Berry was left stranded at first base. He's got a good glove at short. Here's Michael Campbell now, the former Sydney Blue Sox outfielder. He takes a called strike from his former teammate in Matty Ray. Won the ABL Rookie of the Year award at 31 years of age, did Michael Campbell. Fly ball into right field, this should do it. Nick Anderson-Vine underneath it, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Matthew Ray. In fact, he's retired 7 of the last 8 that he's faced, and he's steadied the ship for the Blue Sox. Plenty of work to do, though, as we head to the home half of the fourth. All Canberra so far in Blacktown. Home half of inning number 4 back in Blacktown. Andrew Reynolds, great to have your company on a Saturday afternoon. You're just dropping in on the Spacequake Sports YouTube channel. It's great to have your company. It is great to be back behind the microphone, I can tell you that. Joe LaDuca leading things off for the Blue Sox, who hit a missile into left center field back in the first inning. First pitch swinging, a 2-run bomb that got the Blue Sox on the board. And well, to this point, it's been their only 2 runs. Talked about these two teams facing off again next weekend. It'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. And in fact, that will be the order of play for all 3 opening series next weekend. I suppose you could say the Perth Heat and Melbourne Aces will be the quote-unquote curtain raiser of the season. They will begin a half an hour before the other 2 games get underway next Friday night. Before Super Saturday on the 18th of November, 6 games, 2 doubleheaders across 3 series, and then 3 series finales all on Sunday afternoon next weekend. You'll be able to watch the majority of the action on the new Baseball Plus app. You can head to the abl.com.au, baseball.com.au, and download that Baseball Plus app nice and early. You can watch on a desktop platform as well by heading to the abl.com.au, clicking the watch button on the navigation menu. The ABL team has been hard at work, and what I know has been a mission and a dream of the front office of the Australian Baseball League for quite some time to get a native broadcast platform up and running, and all the credit in the world to Paul Gonzalez, Glenn Williams, and everybody else at Baseball Australia and the Australian Baseball League for making that dream become a reality. LaDuca swings and misses. 3 consecutive strikeouts now for Sydney hitters. And there's one away here in the top half of the 4th inning. These two teams will face off at 7:30 on Friday night. It'll be the same time, at least for those of us on the East Coast, Eastern Daylight Time anyways. It will be a 7 o'clock local time first pitch in Adelaide as the Bandits will head to the defending Claxton Shield champion Adelaide Giants to begin their campaign. That's a Giants team that certainly haven't taken a step backward. That looks like a really strong team, and they would be a good chance to go back-to-back this year. And then, as mentioned, Perth will travel to Melbourne. 4-game series in Altona next weekend. A wave and a miss. They count nothing at 2. Oh, 2 pitch, spoiled away foul. We'll do it again, no balls and 2 strikes. Talked a lot about what this front office has been able to do and really trying to shift the culture of the Sydney Blue Sox. And you have to go back and remember, this is a team that won just 12 of 39 games last year. The final scheduled game of the regular season did not go ahead for these two teams last year. It was a rain out here in Blacktown. 12-27, a team that was 7-12 at home and won just 5 of their 20 games on the road, finishing 17.5 games back in the Northeastern Division behind Brisbane. Tony Harris and his coaching staff, this new ownership group, general management, knew that there was work to be done. There's a base hit through the left side. That'll put a runner aboard with 1 out here in the first inning. A lot of credit already should be given to Darren McBeth, Rob Hazen, Stu Masters, and that entire crew in the front office for this Sydney team. And you only have to look at the crowd that's on hand for an exhibition baseball game in 35-degree weather on a Saturday in November. It's a team that has not had a winning season since 2018. And are looking to right the ship in 23-24. And I'll be honest with you, this is where I'm going to start to get stuffed up. No numbers on the back of the jerseys for the Blue Sox, as you can tell, which Certainly doesn't make things easy for a broadcaster like myself. Next offering is popped up foul off behind home plate. The reason for that, I explained it before we came on air, which I realize doesn't do anyone any good. Tony Harris still has a lot of options in terms of finalizing what this roster will look like. Obviously, those will be submitted to the ABL front office early next week for round number 1. The imports have only just arrived in the country for Sydney this past week. They weren't available to play in the exhibition series last weekend against Canberra. There's still a lot of vying for positions. I'm sure Tony Harris probably knows what 80% of the roster makeup will look like, but still work to be done. There's a flare into right field and back-to-back base hits now for Sydney with one away here in the 4th. Broken bat shot up the middle, and it'll get past Ed Howard. A run will come home to score as the throw is up the first base line. 3 consecutive base hits have pushed a run across for Sydney. And they've cut the lead to 7 here in the home half of the 4th inning. But Ed Howard looked for all money like he'd get to this baseball, but I think he just misjudged it. Shortstop wasn't able to come up with it, and the throw home was up the line, and the Blue Sox have added the tally. Pushed 2 runs across in the first. That was the 2-run bomb from DeLuca. And 3 consecutive hits, keeping the line moving to push the lone tally across here in the 4th. Fastball in for a called strike. Mentioned that Canberra won 6 of the 7 games played between these two teams last year. Sydney actually won what ended up being the final game of the regular season. It was a 4-0 win in Game 2 of the Saturday doubleheader in Round 10 last year, before the Sunday game was canceled altogether. Of course, both of these two teams, neither of these two teams were in playoff contention, so no need to make up that 40th and final game of the season. It took Sydney until their 39th and final game of the year to beat their rival, the Canberra Cavalry. Next offering off the plate outside, 3-2. The payoff, spoiled away foul, we'll do it again. Another 3-2, and another foul ball off toward the left side. Many of the ABL teams going into round 1 will not be at full strength next weekend due to the Asia Professional Baseball Championship taking place next weekend in Japan. We'll rattle off some of the names for these two clubs that may be absent next week. Here's a fly ball into left field and a sliding play out there by Cam Warner. talked about how important he would be for this Canberra team. We've seen it with the bat in exhibition play so far today, and that is a great sliding catch from the ACT native. Second out of the inning. So just having a quick skim of this Team Australia roster for the Asia Pacific Baseball Championship, the Asia Professional Baseball Championship, I should say, that will take a lot of these guys away from their ABL clubs next weekend. Of course, Jake Burns, a catcher for this Sydney Bluesox team, as well as Mitch Edwards, who's made the move from Adelaide to play with the Canberra Cavalry, will not be available next weekend. It's a pitch that's high and tight for a ball. Really do like the look of the roster that Team Australia has assembled for that Asia Pacific Baseball Championship, and it was such a win for Baseball Australia to be able to have a team competing in that competition. Of course, COVID probably made it happen a little bit later than what was originally intended. Chinese Taipei, Japan, and Korea starting that competition a couple of years ago. As Brennan takes ball 4 high and tight, and that'll load the bases and extend the inning here in the 4th. Many ABL fans will remember the Asia Series, which was the club champion of many of those leagues. Remember, the Canberra Cavalry won the Asia Series back in 2013. That was a bit of a different competition because it was club teams as opposed to national teams. It was the champion of their respective leagues. There's the Asia Professional Baseball Championship, is an underage roster for the 4 main baseball playing Asia Pacific nations. It'll be interesting to see how Australia goes in the games that they will play next weekend. You'll be able to watch Team Australia, you'll be able to watch your ABL team, you'll be able to watch it all on big. So here's Kim hitting for the second time today. He singled and was thrown out at second base, trying to stretch that single into a double back in the second inning. The 0-1, good off-speed pitch. Pulled the string, and it's 0-2. Waved at and missed. And a big strikeout to bookend this 4th inning. The Blue Sox, they do push a run across, but they leave 2 aboard. Let's go to the 5th inning. What do you say? It's all Canberra. Game 1, exhibition baseball.
All right, guys. Just a little bit of fun this afternoon. All right, you have to press the water in again. You catch the balloon, you get a fucking field ball on this game. If you decide to throw a packet in hitting, you can go into the merchandise shop and get one of the Bluesox t-shirts for your size. So here we go. Catch the ball, man. Get the ball. Oh, I'm trying to hit you back with it. Keep going to the middle of the shot.
New pitcher into the ball game for Sydney is Dazon Cole, one of the import arms that we'll see quite a bit of, I would imagine, out of the bullpen for the Blue Sox this season. Getting his first taste of action. An electric fastball that's taken for a called strike on first pitch to Andrew Ortiz. He will face the top of the order, 1, 2, and 3, due up in the top half of the fifth inning. Cole is a 27-year-old out of Pontiac, Michigan. Was originally drafted by Atlanta in the 29th round before going to college, and all dropped by LaDuca at third base. So that'll go as an E5, I would imagine. Ortiz can run, but you got to think if DeLuca is able to pick that up cleanly, he does have plenty of time to make the play, but just took his eye off the baseball. Looking at that angle, they may potentially give him a base hit. It's an exhibition game. It matters not. One way or another, he's on base to begin things here in the fifth inning. So here's Ed Howard for the fourth time this afternoon. Couple of base hits, one of those for extra bases. He's also scored a pair of the 10 runs that have crossed the plate for Canberra. This one bounced back up the middle, could be two. Kimmel step on the bag for one, throw on to second base. Joe DeLuca would be saying, thank you for that. Tailor-made right up the middle. A couple of guys on the base paths that can run, but when you hit it right at a middle infield or close to the bag, it matters not. So the error or base hit, however it was scored to begin the inning, is quickly erased, and there's two away. Here's Corey Acton now. See, with Dazon Cole is an electric fastball on him. A little bit of late movement as well. Good life on these pitches. In the Sydney, relief pitching was not the issue last year. This ball is crushed. But the wind is blowing in from right field, and Nick Anderson-Vine is out to make the catch. Big spacious ballpark here in Blacktown, particularly when the wind blows in. And Dazon Cole faces the minimum in his first bit of action for the Blue Sox. Nick Anderson-Vine tracking it back to the wall before hauling it in to end the inning. Let's go to the home half of the fifth. Cavalry leading the Blue Sox here in Blacktown. Home half of the 5th inning. Sydney coming to the plate, trailing it 10-3. This first of 2 games in an afternoon doubleheader of exhibition baseball. Appreciate your company on a Saturday afternoon, however and wherever you are joining the broadcast from. Check swing, that'll stay foul. 7-inning contest here in the first ball game. The second game will be scheduled for 9, but depending on how that game tracks, it may potentially be a 7-inning game as well. It's a beautiful thing about exhibition baseball. You show up, you don't really know what you're going to see. We may see 14 innings. We may see 16. Life is like a box of chocolates. Exhibition baseball is like a box of chocolates. These 2 teams will meet next weekend in the opening round of the ABL season. First offering missing off the plate outside. I know that was the 0-2 pitch off the plate outside. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Fastball missing high, 2-2. Just to finish the thought before it leaves my head, which will happen quickly, I would imagine. Talking about the Sydney bullpen and seeing the live arm that Dazon Cole has facing the minimum last half inning. This one swung on and missed, but it gets by the catcher. The throwdown, though, will be in time. And there's one away to begin things here in the home half of the 5th. Sydney pitching staff was 7th in the league in terms of earned runs allowed last year at 181. But a lot of the issues that staff had was with starting pitching. Their bullpen was actually middle of the league in terms of earned run average, runs allowed. Sydney obviously have made a massive pickup in Tim Atherton that will bolster the pitching staff and the starting rotation. Josh Geyer obviously returning. I mean, it's a great 1-2 punch to have, and if you have live arms coming out of the pen like we've seen with guys like Dazon Cole, even Matthew Ray, who was a starter last year and will most likely assume a bullpen role again this season, coming in and steadying the ship after the starter allowed 10 runs, 8 of those being earned. Some good things brewing here in Sydney. There'll be a lot of young talent. The imports really just starting to get the lay of the land, talking about many of them just arriving during the week. They didn't play in the exhibition series at Narrabundah last weekend, so really getting their first taste of Australian baseball this afternoon. As you can see by the turnout and the attendance this afternoon, this is a baseball market that is just begging for some success on the field. Haven't had a winning season since 2018. So it spoiled away foul and will get out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. But it will not be easy. Talked about earlier, I think the Adelaide Giants, if anything, have potentially gotten stronger this year from where they were last season. And that's saying something because that was a good baseball team last year. Obviously going on to win the Claxton Shield in what was a competitive ABL championship series. You know the Heat are always going to be strong. Melbourne Aces would most certainly be looking for a bounce-back season after the roster they had last year and were unable to make the playoffs. So while certainly Sydney, you would think, is improving from a 12-27 team last year, the competition's not getting any easier. They'll be without a few players next week. It will be in Japan for that Asia Pacific or Asia Professional Baseball Championship. This one's lined up the middle. That'll be a base hit. So in will step Solo McGuire, who has been busy out in center field. He's struck out a pair of times, both looking this afternoon. He's swinging first pitch. Lines this one to left center. Cam Warner shielding his eyes, and he can't make the catch. Boy, that looked like trouble from the get-go for Cam Warner right in left field. We've seen that a couple times with him today. It is a terrible sun field this time of day in Blacktown. For the left fielder, that sun is directly in your eyes, and you could see Cam Warner fighting it all the way on this fly ball in the left. I don't think he ever actually saw it. I think he identified where it might have been, but he certainly never saw it into the glove. And Sydney have 2 base runners aboard, approaching the middle of the order. Boy, would they like to claw back some runs here. Antonellis swinging at the first pitch that he sees. Finds himself in a hole, 0-1. This time of year, late spring, early summer, this time of day for left fielders, it is mayhem. Here's a fly ball into left center. And drawing a bead on that one is Moritz. He's able to haul it in. Runners retreat. Ball was hit on a rope. Right at the center fielder. It was very well positioned. If anything, he was probably shading toward the left center field gap. So here's Joe DeLuca. He's already homered so far today. Pummeled the ball into left center field over the Easton sign back in the first. He was trying to do it again, wasn't he? Hit that home run earlier today, right-handed against the left-handed starting pitcher Kodai Hamaya. The switch hitter now hitting left-handed against the righty. He wouldn't go deep from both sides of the plate. Day 1 of an exhibition game, would he? Spoiled away foul off toward the left side, 1-2. He'd be thinking about it. It would be a heck of a way to introduce yourself to your new Blue Sox teammates. First pitch that he saw of exhibition baseball, he hit 395 feet into left center field for a 2-run bomb. Stays alive here, hits that one off the end of the bat. We'll do it again, 1-2. It's a lucky fan behind home plate, gets a souvenir. It's a small hole in the fencing here in Blacktown. It's interesting. It can go over one fence and sneak its way inside of the other. So if you're right behind home plate, you're a pretty good chance to catch a foul ball. Some of those stinging tips off the end of the bat. That's what happened just a moment ago. 1-2 pitch missing. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two swung out and missed. He went to a knee that time to Luca. I think he was trying to hit a bomb from the other side of the plate. Not to be. The Blue Sox, they strand a pair. We have played 5 in this 7-inning contest, and it's been all Canberra leading at 10-3. Top of the 6th inning in Blacktown. A warm Blacktown this afternoon, I might add. Top of 35 degrees at the ballpark. It is dropping somewhat. I think it's now 33 degrees. It's a bit nicer in the shade this afternoon than what it was when the sun was high in the sky at midday today. I did have a peek at the long-range weather forecast, and it looks as though it will be slightly cooler next weekend when these two teams open the ABL season here in Blacktown. Still be nice, 27, 28 degrees next weekend as far as the forecast is concerned, but we know that can change in a hurry, so don't hold me to it if it's rainy and 15 in Blacktown next weekend. Cam Warner leading things off. He has been aboard twice, 3 RBIs. He's driven in 3 of the 10 for the Cavalry so far this afternoon. The 1-1 pitch missing off the plate outside for a ball. The 2-1. Hard hit, but right at the shortstop. Kim picks it up, throws on to first, and there's one away. If you haven't already done so, be sure and hop on to the abl.com.au and download the Baseball Plus app. Get everything squared away before we start the season in earnest next weekend. You don't want to be left doing that on Friday night when you've got a cold beverage and a nice meal sitting in front of the television and you realize you haven't yet downloaded the Baseball Plus app. So just go ahead and get it out of the way. You'll be ready to rock and roll when regular season baseball starts in earnest next weekend. You'll also be able to watch Australia's games in the Asia Professional Baseball Championship on Baseball Plus as well. Eric Ballner will be on the call from Tokyo, Japan. Kim backhands and throws across his body. A great play, and it looked like Jack Barry may have pulled up with a bit of a hamstring. You'll see it at the end here. This is a great play by Kim. Been impressed by what I've seen from him today. Let the ball come to him. Knew Barry was running, so he had plenty of time, and you'll see Barry just pull up with a hamstring late. And he's certainly nursing it on the way back to the Cavalry dugout. This will be a really good shot of it as he crosses your screen. You can see him just kind of sauntering into the first base bag. And he's certainly not in a hurry to get back to the dugout. Athletic trainer coming over to have a look at him. That's probably, I would venture to say, the last time that we will see Jack Barry today. No reason, if that hamstring is indeed bothering him, that they would want to risk anything in an exhibition contest. Day like today, it could also very well be a cramp. The amount of extreme heat that we've had in Blacktown. There's a bouncing ball toward the right side. This will be a tough play. It's a foul ball. It's to come off the foot of the hitter. Mitch Edwards, of course, formerly a member of this Blue Sox team, has also played in Adelaide and has now found a home with the Canberra Cavalry. And it did indeed. He hit off the toe of that right foot. Good work by our Spacequake Sports crew to pick up on that. The 0-2 to Edwards. Popped him up. Into left field. There's that tricky Sunfield again. But Antonella's there to make the catch. And good work for the Blue Sox pitching staff. They certainly have put a kibosh on the runs since they came in bunches early on. We'll go to the home half of the 6th. They need some runs. It's 10-3 Canberra.
Here he comes. Who's that team? Who's that team for the element score? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go! Here we go! Yeah!
and it's definitely regional. Like where I am is coach. Like that's the big beer there, and it's like serving like 0.2, 0.3 liter glasses, and you just knock them back. And once you put your glass down, someone usually comes around, puts a new one, and takes a pencil and marks your poster how many you've had. Yeah, that's how they do it. But if you go to nearby Dusseldorf, if you ask for a coach, they'll kick you out. Because Dusseldorf and Cologne don't get along. Yeah, like, local pride, like, national pride is not a thing in Germany for obvious reasons that we don't need to get into. So instead of that, they have local pride. Big local pride. Like, this is why, like, I don't know if
Move up the ball of the 16. You are sitting to stop. It's the catcher.
where
You tell you
like,
are.
riot police, water cannons at the ready. Like, oh yeah, like you do not screw around with Germans on your side. Discuss.
Well, the Sydney Blue Sox mascot has made an appearance at the ballpark. Haven't seen the blue fellow walking around until just now. And he has gathered a crowd and talked about really good crowd at the ballpark for this exhibition contest this afternoon. And well, now there is a anthropomorphic blue sock that is walking around and has garnered the attention of some of the kiddos. Staple of the ballpark here in Blacktown. Ground ball to shortstop. Howard is there, and there is one away, 2 pitches and 1 out to begin the home half of the 6th inning. These two teams will take a 30-45 minute breather following this exhibition contest, and we will be back with game 2. Again, this game is scheduled for 7. The second game of the double dip scheduled for 9, but very well could be fewer than that depending on circumstances as we progress throughout the evening. No matter the amount of innings, we are glad to have your company on what is a beautiful day for baseball, and it is great to have baseball back. And there will be plenty of it in the next 3 months in the calendar as we approach the holiday season. Here's a liner into right center. That'll get down for a base hit. The Blue Sox have themselves a base runner with one away here in the home half of the 6th inning.
Now batting the designated hitter, Mitch Austin.
So here's Mitch Austin. He has struck out and has singled in a run so far today, 1 for 2. High hand style from that left-handed batter's box with the open stance. It's always the kind of stance you try to mimic in the backyard, isn't it? Imposing left-handed stance, slightly open, hands next to the ear with the bat in some ways nearly parallel with the ground. Remind you of one of the old school batting stances you'd see from some of those left-handed sluggers in the 90s. This pitch missing off the plate outside, 2-1. So the big thing in the 90s was that wave of the bat. Ken Griffey Jr., of course, making it popular, but Gary Sheffield had a little bit of that as well. I say a little bit, he had a lot of it. The story with Sheffield used to be that he was trying to slow down his bat speed, therefore needed some pre-pitch movement in order to do so, and that's how that bat wiggle came about. Off speed pitch on 2-1, taken low. Now 3 balls and a strike. The 3-1. High and away outside, so a couple of base runners here for Sydney. They are trying to make a bit of noise in the late stages of this contest. I mean, credit the bullpen has talked about all 10 runs for Canberra across the plate in the first 2 innings. A scoreless third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Unfortunately for Sydney, the damage was done nearly before the game started. 2 aboard and 1 gone. Here's Max Brennan now. He takes the first for a called strike. High fly ball left field. That'll get foul. Off and out of play. The 0-2. Oh, pretty good pitch on 0-2. Brennan thought about protecting, held up the swing, and it was nearly a called third strike. He'll live to fight another pitch. 1-2. On the ground to third. This should be 2. The throw is too high. 1 run will score. Everybody else will stay put. Oh, the Cavalry were out of the inning. But the throw from Harry Fullerton too wide to Acton at second base. A run comes home to score, and it's still 2 on with 1 out for the Bluesox. Oh, he knew he had time to work, but he was almost too casual about it. Harry Fullerton at third base, and he's kicking himself at the moment. He had his side back in the dugout for the top of the 7th inning. But instead, the Bluesox played another. And they're threatening for more with 2 men aboard and 1 out. Swing and a miss and a 0-1. Now no balls and 2 strikes. Two runs in the first inning on a 2-run bomb from Joe DeLuca. 2 runs have crossed for Sydney here in the 6th. They've scored early, they've scored late. They'd love to pile on at least a couple more if they can do so here in the 6th to give themselves a chance. Another 0-2 coming. Hard hit left field. Warner will have to fight the sun again. This time he draws a better bead and is able to make the catch without consequence. And there's 2 away. That sun a little bit lower in the sky now than what it was half an hour, 45 minutes ago when we saw Warner make the error in left field. So 2 away, 2 runners on. Here is Nick Anderson-Vine, who has been in the ball game since the onset, but was actually DH'd for. There were 2 designated hitters to begin the ball game. Akita and Mitch Austin both hitting in the middle of the order in the 5 and 6 spots. So Nick Anderson-Vine, although he's been playing right field since the first pitch was thrown, this is his first plate appearance. This one tapped into the mid of the catcher. And the count, even a ball and a strike. The 1-1. Good off-speed pitch. Pulled a string there, the righty. Anderson Vine now in the hole. The ball in 2 strikes. Cavalry will have the middle of their order, 4, 5, and 6. Due up in the top of the 7th. The 1-2. Spoiled away foul to stay alive. Tony Harris, the skipper for this Sydney Bluesox club, of course, has been a long time involved in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization, or Pittsburgh Pirates affiliation with this Bluesox team this year. Feathers managing in his 9th different ABL season, that being in the new Australian Baseball League. He also managed in the old ABL prior to the rebirth. There's a tapper right side. That'll stay foul as well. It's been probably 18 months, 2 years since I last saw Tony Harris, and for those of you that might be in the same boat, I can promise you that he has not missed a gym session. Fighting fit as ever, the great man. The 1-2. Outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. I say that tongue-in-cheek, but those of you that have ever had the pleasure of meeting Tony Harris would know that he is a fit individual. And that still holds true. 2-2 pitch, missing high and away, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Of course, has managed some underage national teams, has Tony Harris. And is back in the fold with the Bluesox for 23-24. 3-2 pitch to Nick Anderson Vine. Runners going with 2 outs. Spoiled away foul. We'll do it again at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Don't forget, you can catch all of the action, as mentioned, the Asia Professional Baseball Championship on Baseball Plus next weekend, as well as 2 of the 3 opening round series. It's the 3-2 pitch, missing low. It's a good plate appearance from Nick Anderson Vine, and his first of the game to fight back from a 1-2 count. Fell off a few tough pitches and draw himself a 2-out walk to load the bases, and it may come before a pitching change. Just looking at the month of November for these 2 teams. Of course, they will play each other next weekend in the opening round of the ABL season. In round 2, Canberra will have their home opener. It will be a Thursday night contest at Narrabundah on the 23rd of November, as the Aces will travel to Canberra. Sydney will play on a Thursday night as well. That'll be up in Brisbane. The Cavalry will return home for round 2, and Sydney will hit the road north to Queensland for their second round series. And in round 3, Sydney will return home here to Blacktown International Sports Park the first weekend of December to face the defending champion Adelaide Giants. Canberra will have back-to-back home series after they host Melbourne in round 2. They will host the Perth Heat in round 3. There's a base hit up the middle. That'll get through. 2 runs will come home to score. And have a look at this. Sydney with a 4 spot in the home half of the 6th inning. All high fives for Max Brennan as he heads back to the dugout. And don't count this team out just yet. Men at the corners, a potential tying run will be on deck here in the 6th. Ball was hit hard, and really just nothing Acton could do about it at second base. Nearly got a glove on it, but I think even if he had, it still would have been a base hit and scored a run. Trickled through, and 2 came home to score. So 10-6, runners at the corners. Two away. Here is Evan Antonellis. Boy, would the Blue Sox love to see Joe DeLuca, who has homered once today, come to the plate with a potential chance to tie the ball game. Wouldn't that be something? Sydney team were down and out. It was 10-2 after 2 innings. A lot of credit to the Sydney bullpen that the Blue Sox are even in a situation where we're talking about tying the ball game. The 1-1 fastball off the plate outside. 2 balls and a strike. Again, 7 innings in this first exhibition game. The teams will take a 30 to 45-minute hiatus prior to returning to the field for the second game of this afternoon's double dip. Let's play 2 on a Saturday afternoon. Wave and a miss for Antonella. And the count even 2-2. Hit into left field. It's trending toward the foul pole. And it's a ground rule double. I didn't see it bounce. I'm not sure Cam Warner did either, but it's a 2-run ground rule double off the bat of Antonella. And I willed this to happen. It will happen. Joe DeLuca will come to the plate with a chance to tie the ball game as it's now a 10-8 game. Let's see where this thing bounced. Well, it did take an awkward hop just in front of that Blacktown International Sports Park sign and swiftly took a left-hand turn up and over the fence. So a 2-run, 2-out RBI double. And now a chance to tie for the Blue Sox. Because it was a ground rule double, rightfully so. That second run didn't come home to score. So it is second and third, a 10-7 contest rather than 10-8. I got a bit excited. Hey, broadcasters need exhibitions as well. Don't hold it against me. Be squeaky clean by next weekend, I can promise you. I've never made a mistake in the regular season. Wave and a miss. And Sydney will strand a pair, but credit to the Blue Sox. They push a healthy amount across the plate here in the 6th inning to pull it to 10-7. We'll go to the 7th inning. Top of the 7th inning in Blacktown. This will be the final inning of this first of 2 exhibition contests. Andrew Reynolds, so grateful for your company on a Saturday afternoon. If you're out and about, you've gotten home, you've been out with the kids, out at the park, maybe out at the pub, you've just come home to check the score. It is 10-7. The Canberra Cavalry leading it by 3 as we play in the top half of inning number 7. Cohen Wynn was a staple in the Bluesox rotation last year, coming out of the bullpen to deliver this top of the 7th inning. He was a revelation for Sydney last year. Again, built off of a strong U23 World Cup campaign before being inserted into the rotation last year for the Blue Sox. And you can argue that he was one of, if not their best, a .413 earned run average and a 3-5 record last season. It'll be interesting to see how he is utilized in this Blue Sox club this year. Will he be in the starting rotation? May he be a spot starter? Or will he come out of the bullpen in long relief? Tony Harris certainly has some options again with that signing of Tim Atherton. Might also be a question of how do you use Atherton? He potentially could be the ace of the staff. But do you hold him for the 7-inning games on a Saturday? You know, you can usually get 6 or 7 strong innings out of a Tim Atherton. It can save your bullpen if you don't have to go to the pen in that 7-inning contest. Interesting to see how Tony Harris puts this pitching staff together in the regular season. Bouncing ball toward the right side, and the first out of this 7th inning recorded for Cohen Wynn. So here's Cam Tilley now. Cohen Wynn looking to work a clean 7th inning to give his team one final shot after leaving a couple of men aboard in that home half of the 6th. (1-0) waved at and miss, leaving the counter ball in a strike. One tapped behind the plate. Tilley so far today has reached a pair of times. It took him until the 4th inning, his 3rd plate appearance, before he actually registered an at-bat. Got a pair of walks in the 1st and 2nd innings, the innings in which Canberra did all of their damage, pushing 3 across in the 1st and 7 across in the 2nd inning. They haven't scored since. In fact, they've only had 2 base runners since they scored 7 runs in the 2nd inning. A lot of credit to the Sydney bullpen. The 1-2. Spoiled away foul. We'll do it again at the ball in 2 strikes. Seen some good arms. Matty Ray, who was, again, a starter last year. Potentially he could have a bullpen role this season once he came in to clean up the 2nd inning. Had a good 3rd and 4th. Saw Dazon Cole with an electric fastball from him as well. Here's a fly ball in the center. Tracked down by Solomon McGuire. 2 away. Two away, nobody aboard. Here's the former Blue Sox outfielder in Michael Campbell. He takes a called strike on the first that he sees. Mentioned former ABL Rookie of the Year. won that Rookie of the Year award at 31 years of age a few seasons ago. This one spoiled away foul off toward the left side. It's 0-2. Another 0-2. Hammered, but at the second baseman. Well positioned there. Max Brennan makes the catch. The inning comes to a close. The Blue Sox, they need 3 to tie, 4 to win it as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Back after this. Last chance for the Blue Sox as we play in the home half of the 7th inning. Yui Sako, potential closer in waiting for this Cavalry team. Out to pitch the 7th. That ball was off of the first base bag. Good recovery there to get the first out. And DeLuca is retired without incident. 1 pitch, 1 away. Sako, a 24-year-old right-hander. First pitch, a called strike here. He did play with the Cavalry a couple years ago. It was last season, I should say. Did play 6 games, made 6 appearances. 10 innings, allowed only 2 earned runs. Strangely enough, those 2 earned runs were both solo homers. Spent 2023 in the Frontier League playing for the New Jersey Jackals in Little Falls, New Jersey, the 0-2. Hit hard, left field. Cam Warner a couple of steps to his left. And the Blue Sox are down to their final out here in Game 1. So Reito Aikita is the final hope for the Blue Sox here in the home half of the 7th inning. Yui Sako has retired the first 2 that he has faced and is First offering to Aikita is missing for a ball. The 1-0 pitch. Boy, Sacco, he works quickly, doesn't he? This one pops straight up into right center field. Who wants it? It's the right fielder who makes the catch. And the ball game comes to a close. So it was a lot of runs early that ultimately made the difference for Canberra. 10 runs in the first 2 innings. They did not score again. They did not need to. They win it by a final of 10 runs to 7. That's one of 2 exhibition ball games from Blacktown today in the books. Our second of 2 games will come your way. Same place right here on Spacequake Sports. Give us about 30-45 minutes before Game 2 commences, and we will see you on the other side. The Cavalry 10, the Bluesox 7. Game 2 comes your way in just a little bit. Until then, so long, everybody.
In 5 minutes, all right, I'm going to select some lucky kids, and we're going to go out on the field and play some games out there on the field. All right, so if you're well behaved, you ask nicely, don't push, don't shove. All right, you might be holding the fun out of the field in about 5 minutes' time, and we'll meet down next to the first base dugout. I'm going to think that anyone that's pushing and shoving won't be allowed on. I meet down there on the far side of the